Check out these great shows and channels on the T3PK network. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy DR2727. Shout out my Transformers collectors, 112 scale collectors, whatever you collect, shout out to you. And we are doing another three things. And this is Fans Toys Rambo, their version of Sideswipe. And if you don't know, three things is where we talk about three things we like, three things we don't like after 3 days of having a figure. And to be fair and honest, I've had this figure longer than 3 days. And I wasn't going to do one, but Sideswipe was my first Transformer. Quick story time. I remember when Transformers came out, it was the week of my birthday. Sunday after church, my grandmother took me to J.C. Penney's at South Lake Mall in Atlanta, Georgia, and told me I can get a toy. And I got picked up this guy. It was a huge display of Transformers. Right after the cartoon, I just saw that was the first one I saw and I grabbed. And the rest was history. I'm so glad my favorite company is doing this character because this character means a lot to me. Before we get started, the homie Gib ATL, part of the T3PK network, he did a comparison, a detailed comparison between this and the DX9 Sideswipe, the Red Storm. So go check that out when you get a chance. Jumping right into it, the first thing I like about this figure is the thing that you can set your watch to when it comes to Fans Toys: builds, paint, sculpt, materials. Like they always have the top-notch build, the top-notch materials, the top-notch paint. Now on this one, the sculpt is what they wanted it. It's not necessarily what I wanted it. We'll talk about that more later. But, you know, everything they hit on in those four categories, they hit 100%. The build is top-notch. The paint is top-notch. The sculpt is top-notch for what they wanted. And the materials are top-notch. The second thing I like about this figure is the articulation. Fans Toys is known for the articulation, but in this one, they give you all the normal articulation points plus the ab crunch and the butterfly. Like you can't get this pose without a butterfly joint. And I think that that's such a piece of important piece of articulation. Now I wish the ranges were a little deeper for some of these pieces, but they give you everything and they give you pretty good range for all of it, but they give you things that you don't expect from them. And the third thing I like about him is that he came with blast effects. I did a video a couple of years ago about three things every figure should come with, and blast effects was one of those three things. And it's good to see Fans Toys is making good on that because blast effects have a way of elevating the display and bringing life to a character. And the first thing I don't like is the deco of the legs. And people are thinking because it's just pad print and not sculpted. I don't know. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Fans Toys adding that sauce. If you look at the circles on the image above, I put them next to Minnesota intentionally. If you look at Breakdown and Wild Rider and the places I circled, you see that they had that sculpted detail with the car details up under the translucents. Fans Toys could have did that to the kneecaps of Sideswipe, and it wouldn't have taken away. It would have made it more interesting to look at, more mature to look at, and it would have just added so much more to the figure as opposed to whether they did sculpted line rectangles or, you know, the pad printer paper they use. I wish they would go back to the old school's Fans Toys and add that sauce and just something minor like that, like those translucent with the car details up under. It doesn't take away from the figure at all. That shit adds to the figure. And I know the G1 people would complain, but please, guys, this is what mature MP should look like. Look at the Wild Ride and the Breakdown. And the second thing I don't like about it is the outside of the leg. And I know that they did this for tune accuracy, but I like when you see the car details. Like, let me know it's a transforming thing. And this is where it loses the lack of that maturity, that level of maturity, like in the previous one, right? Like having that pad printed print kneecap, that along with this just kind of knocks it down from it's a mature thing and more so it's a toy. I would expect this from Hasbro, not from Fans Toys. And the third thing I don't like about him is the transformation. Now, let me hold up. The transformation is great, but Fans Toys is on the left, Bad Cube is on the right. And Bad Cube had a perfect transformation. And what I mean by perfect transformation is that you could transform the figure and not take off the missile. Like the missile doesn't come off on the Bad Cubes. And when you have that level of innovation, I expect every version after that to have that same level of information. If you think about, you know, I bash its Transbots for their Inferno mode for not being able to hide the ladder like Takara did. And so if I'm gonna bash its Transbots for not keeping up the innovation that was standard that was already set, I gotta bash Fans Toys the same way. Bad Q set the expectation that these things should be all in one perfect transformation. And Fans Toys didn't do that. No matter how easy and how intuitive the transformation was, the fact that it isn't a perfect transformation is a fail to me. For final thoughts, and I'm showing it here next to DX9 Sideswipe. I only have the G2 version, but for final thoughts, I think that Fans Toys hit a triple on this one. Like this is a 96 out of 100. I think they did a really good job. And I think DX9, which is on the right, is a B plus. I think it's an 86 or whatever. So I think that Fans Toys is better than DX9, but I think the more interesting thing is it a lot better than DX9? The difference in price better? I don't think so. I think that first, go back and check out Give ATL. He does a detailed comparison of the two, and it's a really good job. He did a really good job on that, so go check that out. But I think that DX9 was like $90 and Fans Toys is like $160. So like, to be honest with you, unless Sideswipe means a lot to you, or you are I have to have the Fans Toys version collector like I am, then the DX9 is good enough. You know what I'm saying? Some of the things that where the DX9 fails compared to the Fans Toys is Fans Toys has those butterfly joints, that articulation point that's much better. And I think the alt mode, I think DX9 alt mode is kind of, not the best. But overall, people always talk about options are good and how competition is good. And I'm not really a person who kind of subscribes to that, because it hasn't really changed anything in this space. But I will say these are both two great options for Sideswipe. I think Fans Toys is a better option. And I think that this is Fans Toys getting back to doing Fans Toys things in the way that only Fans Toys can do it. As always, thank you guys for watching.
Oh, T3PK Network. Transformers, third party kingdom. Every voice in position. Give ATL chasing grails with a collector's precision. Basement in the attic live, bringing energy to the stage. Diecast collected with the real talk, setting shelves in array. MD Seeker takes flight. American dads keep it grounded. The Icon files dig deep, where the history gets uncovered. Let's talk about it. Breaks the latest molds down. Cybertronian Quest keeps the truth in the sound. Scooby Prime File got the deals with the chase. Bear 2727 brings the fire to the place. Joe Prime in the mix, bringing power every time. Diz and Designs makes the visions come alive. TNT Neon Prime hits the room. It's TNT time.